Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Young. I'm just going to walk you through the 2006 employment outlook. Those are the people that are kind of looking to enter the workforce or just looking for opportunities to expand in 2016. So I'm going to highlight key areas to watch out for. Now, like anything else in Canada, if we look at the gross domestic product, which drives the economy, Canada is basically a resource-driven economy. Mostly that drives from the oil, the natural gas, and the mining stocks and forestry and all that. So basically it's a natural resource-based economy. It doesn't mean that we don't produce other goods here, but the trigger of the Canadian dollar, everything else, the worth in this country, is basically driven by commodities. And over the past few years, the commodities have dropped significantly down to a low level. So that's going to impact job opportunities, anything into the oil and gas sector as well as anything in the mining sector. So anybody's looking at engineering jobs or production workers jobs in those areas will see probably slow down those areas, and you may not see much expansion in those for the next year or so. Housing starts is another area which drives basically the skilled trades area, and that's where you see the plumbing, the electricians, the carpentry, the drywallers. And the housing starts are still pretty solid here, but the thing that you need to bear in mind with the housing market is likely 25 to 30% overinflated in price. We could see a market correction slowly come into play in 2016 that may impact on housing starts. So there may be a little bit of a clawback in terms of the housing starts in 2016. Retail sales. This is going to be driven by a couple things here. Canada, basically, most of the economy, we look at key aspects of it. It's government spending, retail sales, and exports. Now, with the retail sales side, there's a significant change that's in play now. Canada was slow to adopt e-commerce. You're going to see more and more e-commerce pick up. Right now, it's only about 10% of the businesses are online in terms of retailers. So what you'll probably see happen over the next 5 years, that online business will likely double in size. What that means now is that's going to go more to e-commerce site, which means the jobs supporting that will be backdoor type of jobs, whether in its warehousing or basically on the customer support area to support the e-commerce sites. Exports, I just wanted to highlight here to kind of look at the sectors that have done decently. Motor vehicles has had a phenomenal year, but like anything else, when you start to deal with big ticket items, you typically might see a peak of this year where people are spending with low interest rates. You may see a drop back down to normal. So motor vehicles isn't something that you probably will see consistently, that it'll probably be growing. It's an area you can watch in terms of things, and that basically drives the auto parts sector, and that gets into your tool and die makers. It's also going to drive the auto parts sector as well. Forestry, that's going to be driven by housing starts, and that's everything from the sawmills, that's to the distribution into the home improvement stores. That's what will drive that. You get into consumer goods, that's getting into everything from personal devices or other types of goods that we would probably produce here. That kind of gives you an idea in terms of where the exports are driven. Aerospace likely will probably see a decent year because there's a lot of play in the aerospace sector, because this is their cycle now where you're seeing a lot of the airplane companies, airliners, actually purchasing more new airplanes or leasing them. That's likely to come into play. Food processing is another growing area again, but those typically jobs don't pay as well, but they might feed into the hospitality sector, and that also drives consumer spending as well. So what's happening in manufacturing trends? You're seeing more and more technology come in play, the manufacturing cycle. In the old days, it was not as complex as it is now. The dependency on manufacturing of parts. So in other words, what I'm trying to say there is a company itself may get components from different areas and just may assemble them now. So the idea of supply chain visibility means you really need to be involved in all aspects of your supply chain, from the raw materials to the actual final assembly. So basically what that's saying is you have to identify who's your partners and understand how better to manage them. Mobile and social connectivity, that's basically more and more devices are coming in play to manage your inventory, or just the idea of what's going on with your company's visibility. Cloud, this is basically looking at how you set up your operations in terms of your computer control processing centers. That's what that means. Data ingenuity, this is basically managing big data. And this is basically understanding the data trends and understanding how better to manage that on demand. In the past, with accounting systems, typically you're just reported monthly. What's going to happen is more and more demand to report daily or weekly to kind of analyze the data trends to make adjustments. It's all about being agile, and that's what's going to happen more and more now. We're not in a market where it's stable. We're in a market where you're going to have to respond quicker and quicker to changes of demographics or different shifts in spending. So this is one of the things companies are going to need to be more and more understanding of data. Customer centricity, which basically is talking about now, is understanding customer trends. So that brings in more of the social media sites like Facebook, maybe even look at Instagram, different things that trend, to understand trends to make adjustments. Customers are not as loyal anymore as it used to be, and when you start losing loyalty to customers, it can also have a direct impact on your day-to-day businesses, so you need to understand that. So the reason why I'm discussing manufacturing trends, as you look in terms of the jobs, it's going to be a lot around managing data. It's a lot around the technical skills required. So as a person that's looking for a job change, you're going to really need to have the skill set that's aligned with the opportunities. I just wanted to highlight here the employment this year. Canada's created basically about almost 200,000 jobs this year. Now, the bulk of those jobs were in the service sector. Now, everybody's going to say they pay low paying, but I'll highlight its key areas there. Like you're seeing professional jobs. You're seeing basically business support services. You're seeing jobs in healthcare services. So some of those jobs actually pay well. They're not all retail side or low paying jobs. They actually pay a decent income. So that's the thing you need to watch out. So I would encourage people that's going out there, look at the employment trends to see where the opportunities are. Now, the last slide I'm showing is the key jobs that are coming into play. Software developer, you're seeing a lot more startup companies. You're seeing a lot more technology coming into play in key areas like BC, Ontario, Quebec. You're seeing a lot more technology hubs. So what you may want to do is look at the top 500 growing companies and see what's going on in those sectors to see if you want to target those companies. Personal financial advisor, this is coming into play a lot more, and I'll tell you why. Is because more and more as the baby boomers retire, more and more they want somebody to help advise them on their finances. Organizational psychologist, a lot of companies now are bringing in psychologists in-house as part of managing the whole workforce and understanding basically issues facing them, because there's so much pressure now on people, so they're kind of looking at the whole mentality of people. Web designers, well, this ties into what I said before about web design. This is getting more and more for companies getting in the e-commerce site and more managing their websites. Environmental engineers, this ties to the clean energy, green sector. There's more and more need for people to be in that area. Medical assistants, this is getting into basically helping doctors in the healthcare sector. Athletic trainers, I'm not sure that's a big area growing, because if you look at it itself, when you're talking athletic trainers, you're talking the physical fitness area, you're talking that's part of it. You're also talking about working with sports teams. So it's probably an area where you'd probably have to break it down in a succinct way. So people are doing health and nutrition, maybe looking at that area as possible a career opportunity. Home care aides, more and more as we go to the development of a demographic shift where we're having more and more people getting aged. There's more and more need to have assisted living, and that's becoming a big area. Biomedical engineer, more and more is becoming on the bioscience areas. There's more and more need to have people in that skill set as part of medical research. Robotic engineer, more and more we go to advanced manufacturing, more and more you're going to see the need for people with a skill set that can work with robotics. Skilled trades, that ties into the construction industry, which again feeds in terms of the skilled trades. Now this kind of gives you an idea of, as a person that's either entering the workforce or looking at where your career is going to head, some of you need to stop listening to what your teachers tell you and do your own research. There are opportunities out there, and there's also opportunities to be had. If you have the drive and desire to achieve anything, you can achieve anything in life. What you have to do is stop listening to certain people around you that dictate to you that a college degree or university degree is the end-all be-all. It's not the case. You need to target those degrees where you see opportunities, where those job opportunities are going to have a payback. You're investing a lot of money in education. So if you go back to school and you're spending $60,000, $80,000 in debt, don't you want a job that's going to pay that back? That's what you want to look at. So you treat your education as an investment. And what am I going to get for that investment? That's what you need to assess. You need to stop listening to your teachers. You need to start taking a look at professionals are doing. You may want to reach out to people in particular skill trades here and get a feel what's going on, the skill sets required. You may also want to look at working part-time and maybe go in school part-time and taking courses. You need to be in control of your future, and the reason I'm starting to be a little bit heavy-handed on this stuff is there's too many teachers going out there to tell you to do certain things a specific way. You need to seize your life, and what you need to do is look at how you want to maximize your investment in education to get the end result of how you're going to get to a particular income bracket. The reason I did this video is because too many times I've run into students and people in a crossroads within their education system that have no idea how to move their education forward. So what I try to do here is identify some of the trends so that people that want to move forward with their career can do that. Thank you.